What we're seeing from Riyadh, kind of a fairly muted reaction, obviously condemning Israel's attacks on Iran as, they're going to do. But Saudi Arabia is perfectly thrilled that Israel's taken out Iran's potential for nuclear weaponry. I do think that they are, they're trying to keep a low profile here, as I think are most of the other, Gulf oil exporters, being concerned obviously about Iraq and the territorial issues there, but really, they don't want to get involved in this. Clearly, I think their biggest concern would be the potential for Iran to retaliate against Saudi Arabia. And they don't want to give Iran any reason to do this. But we know that we saw attacks against, against Aramco facilities in 2019. And so this is something that they, first of all, should be prepared for because it happened before. And I'm sure that as soon as word came that these Israeli attacks were happening, they mobilized, themselves to secure their oil facilities and other, secure areas. So I think their concern is probably let's not do anything to put ourselves in a potential, line of retaliation. But also, they're not going to go out and suddenly like proclaim support for Israel or for the United States in doing this. But I think we're just going to see kind of a low profile and hoping that no oil transport or anything is at all, is at all disrupted. Obviously, their ships are going to be on high alert. They don't want to be disrupted as they move in and out of the Persian Gulf.
Ellen, where does Iranian oil go in the global market?
Most Iranian oil goes to China. At this point, China is Iran's largest, most important customer of oil. And I think that that's really key in assessing the strategic elements here, because a lot of the reason that oil prices jump is this fear that Iran could disrupt shipping through the Strait of Hormuz because all of the ships have to go through Iranian waters to get out and also into the Persian Gulf. Now, China has a huge interest here because China not only buys most of Iran's oil exports, but China buys a lot of oil from other Middle Eastern Gulf exporters, from Saudi Arabia. I mean, they have very tight oil relations right now with the Saudis. So China does not want to see any kind of disruption here.
Within your encyclopedic knowledge, is that substitutable? Are there other places they can get oil if Abu Dhabi or Iran shut down?
So if Iran's oil is shut down, that's not a huge percentage of China's oil imports, and they're certainly getting plenty now from Russia, and that doesn't have anything to do with, with Iran or with the Persian Gulf. So it's not like they're going to not have any oil, but China's interests are to continue this. Also, they get oil at a great discount from Iran. So if Iran's not sending them any more oil, they're going to have to buy it from somewhere else, and it's going to be more expensive. So while we're not talking like, imminent oil shortages and the shutdown of the Chinese economy, but this is something they want to see. They want to see this process be smooth and uninterrupted, with prices staying relatively stable on the lower end. Not only that, but China also does a lot of business with Iran. Iran sells China oil in Chinese currency, and then they use that currency to then buy things like subway cars and all sorts of infrastructure stuff from China. If that is disrupted, it's going to be worse for Iran, clearly, but China doesn't want to see it disrupted either. So they're going to do what they can to make sure that, whatever's going on with this nuclear stuff, that the economic interests remain relatively unobstructed.
So, Ellen, the U.S. producers are good friends in this shale patch. They're waking up this morning seeing oil well north of $70 a barrel. What do they do?
So they're thrilled because they definitely want higher oil prices. It's funny, I was having this discussion last night. How thrilled will they be? Is this kind of a cautious excitement? They're definitely looking to see sustained prices over 75. I think they'd really appreciate to have sustained prices over 75. Now, does that mean they're cheering, military turmoil in the Middle East? No, but they'd certainly like to see this, these prices remain somewhat elevated maybe for the rest of the month or on. They don't want to see just like a rapid shift back down. And I think it's likely that we're going to see an elevated risk premium for oil,
Right.
for some time,
Well,
though I don't think that we're looking at, say, $100 a
right.
barrel anytime soon.